Do you remember your childhood? Think about it. For many of us, our days were filled with scraped knees from climbing trees, the sound of laughter echoing across a park, and the simple joy of playing with friends until the streetlights came on. Our games were real, they were tangible. We built forts out of blankets and raced our bikes down the street. Our world was one of physical connection where we learned about teamwork, arguments, and making up, all face to face. That world, for many of our children, is fading away. It is being replaced by a digital playground that has no boundaries, no closing time, and no real supervision. Today, the playground is a glowing screen. A tablet, a smartphone, a computer, these are the new backyards. Children are spending more time in virtual worlds than they are in the real one. They are building digital empires, fighting virtual monsters, and connecting with friends they have never met. This isn't just a small change, it's a monumental shift in how a generation is growing up. The rules of engagement are different here. You don't see the other person's face, you don't hear the tone of their voice. You only see the text, the avatar, the carefully crafted online identity that can hide anything and anyone. This digital world offers a powerful escape. For a child who feels awkward, shy, or left out at school, the internet promises a place where they can be whoever they want to be. They can be strong, popular, and heroic. But this promise comes with a dark side. While our old playgrounds had physical dangers, a fall from the swings, a scraped elbow, the new digital playground has dangers that are invisible. They are psychological, they are emotional, they are designed to attack a child's mind, to exploit their vulnerabilities, and to pull them into a darkness that no parent ever imagines their child will face. The shift from real-world play to online interaction has created a new kind of isolation. A child can be in a house full of people, surrounded by family, yet be completely alone in their digital world. They are communicating, yes, but who are they communicating with? They are playing games, yes, but what are the rules of these games? As parents, we have to wake up and realize that the nature of childhood has changed. The dangers are no longer just outside the front door, they are inside, living in the palm of our children's hands, and we need to understand them before it's too late. Let's get one thing straight. I'm not talking about the games you see on store shelves. I am not talking about building cities or racing cars. I'm talking about something much more sinister. These are not really games at all. They are systems of psychological manipulation. They are traps, carefully designed by predators to find vulnerable children and gain control over them. They masquerade as fun challenges or secret clubs, making a child feel special and chosen. But this feeling of importance is just the bait. The real goal is to isolate, command, and ultimately destroy a child's spirit and will. The process is always the same. It starts with something small, something that seems completely harmless. The game might ask a child to do something simple like draw a picture of a whale on their hand with a pen, or maybe it will tell them to wake up at 4:20 in the morning and watch a scary video. These tasks seem innocent, even a little exciting. They create a sense of belonging to a secret world. The child feels a thrill, a sense of adventure. They are part of something that their parents and friends don't know about, and this secrecy is a powerful hook. Once the child has completed a few of these simple tasks, the game begins to escalate. The demands become more serious, more isolating, and more dangerous. A simple request to draw on their hand turns into a command to carve the symbol into their skin with a blade. A prompt to watch a scary movie becomes a day-long marathon of horror films designed to break down their mental resilience. The game will tell them to stop talking to their family, to lie to their friends, and to keep everything a secret. The child is slowly being cut off from everyone who loves them, leaving them alone with only the voice of the game. This is where the trap closes. If the child tries to quit, the threats begin. The curator of the game will threaten to harm the child's family. They will threaten to release personal secrets or embarrassing photos that the child was manipulated into sending earlier. The game, which once felt like a source of power and excitement, now feels like a prison. The child is terrified. They feel trapped, ashamed, and completely alone. They believe they have no way out. The fun has vanished, replaced by a constant state of fear and obedience to a faceless monster hiding behind a screen. These terrifying games are not just theoretical dangers, they have names. You need to know these names. You need to understand what they represent so you can recognize the warning signs. The most infamous of these is the Blue Whale Challenge. This so-called game reportedly originated in Russia and spread like a virus across the internet. It works through a curator who assigns a player 50 tasks over 50 days. The tasks start small but grow progressively more dangerous, involving self-harm, isolation, and psychological torment. The final task, on the 50th day, is a command for the child to end their own life. It is the ultimate act of control. Another name you may have heard is Momo. This challenge used a horrifying avatar, a grotesque doll-like figure with bulging eyes and a sinister grin, to terrorize children. Momo would allegedly appear in messaging apps like WhatsApp, sending threatening messages and violent images. It would issue a series of commands, demanding that the child perform dangerous acts and provide photographic proof. If the child refused, Momo would threaten them with curses or claim to know personal information about their family, creating an intense sense of fear and paranoia. The image itself was enough to cause nightmares, but the psychological threats made it a tool of terror. But the list doesn't stop there. The Charlie Charlie Challenge is another one that gained viral popularity. While it seems like a simple, supernatural-themed game using pencils to summon a demon, it can open the door to psychological distress. It plays on a child's fears of the unknown and can lead to anxiety and paranoia, especially for younger kids who cannot distinguish between a silly game and a real threat. More recently, a challenge known as Shadow Friend has been reported, following the same manipulative pattern of isolating a child and demanding increasingly dangerous actions. These games are constantly evolving, changing names and platforms, but their core method remains the same. The names may change, but the playbook is identical. They all target children, they all start with seemingly innocent tasks, they all escalate to dangerous commands, and they all rely on secrecy and threats to maintain control. As one game fades from the headlines, another one is already taking its place, adapting to new apps and new social media trends. As parents, we can't just learn one name and think we are safe. We have to understand the pattern of manipulation itself. We have to recognize the strategy, not just the brand name of the nightmare that is currently trending. Now, I want to talk about the children who fall into these traps. It's easy to think that only a certain type of child becomes a victim. Maybe you think it's a child who is already troubled, or weak, or not very smart. But honestly, you are wrong. Let me be very clear about this. These games do not prey on weakness. They prey on loneliness. They prey on the universal human need to feel seen, to feel important, and to belong. Any child who feels isolated, ignored, or misunderstood is a potential target. And in today's world, that can be any child. Think about the life of an average kid today. They're under immense pressure at school. They're navigating the complicated social hierarchies of friendships, both online and off. They might feel like their parents are too busy with work and other responsibilities to really listen to them. They might be sitting in their own home surrounded by family, but feel completely invisible. It's this feeling of invisibility that the predators behind these games are looking for. They offer a child what they are craving most: attention. The game makes them the main character. It gives them a purpose. It makes them feel special. This is not a sign of a bad kid, it's a sign of a lonely kid. A child who spends hours alone in their room with a phone is not necessarily being antisocial. They may be searching for connection in the only place they feel they can find it. When a mysterious online figure starts talking to them, giving them tasks, and making them feel like part of a secret, important mission, it fills a void. That initial feeling of excitement and belonging is a powerful drug. The child isn't thinking about the danger. They're thinking about the fact that someone, somewhere, is finally paying attention to them. So, we have to stop judging and start understanding. Vulnerability is not a character flaw, it's a part of the human condition, especially during the turbulent years of childhood and adolescence. Instead of asking, what is wrong with that child, we need to start asking, what is that child missing in their life? The answer, more often than not, is meaningful connection. It's time, attention, and the feeling that they can talk to their parents about anything without being judged or dismissed. The most dangerous predator is not the one behind the screen, it is the silence and distance that allows that predator to get in. I want to tell you a story. It's a true story, and it's a hard one to hear, but you need to hear it. It's about a boy named Asser. Asser was 14. He was a good kid, quiet, smart, and a little shy. He didn't have a huge circle of friends, and he often preferred spending time in his room playing games on his phone rather than joining in with the neighborhood kids. His parents saw a typical teenager. They saw a boy who liked his privacy and his technology. What they didn't see was a boy who was deeply lonely. They didn't see the silence that was slowly eating away at him from the inside. One day, Asir discovered a new game online. It found him through a social media group. It wasn't a game he downloaded from an app store, it was a conversation. A curator started sending him messages, inviting him to a secret challenge. Asir, feeling isolated and unseen in his real life, was intrigued. Finally, something just for him. The first tasks were easy. Stay silent for a whole day. Watch this strange video. Asir did them. He felt a secret thrill. He was part of something exclusive. He was no longer just a quiet boy in his room, he was a player in a mysterious and exciting game. As the days turned into weeks, the game changed. The voice on the other end of the screen became more demanding, more controlling. It told him he was weak, but that the game would make him strong. It asked him to send photos, first of his house, then of himself. Then it commanded him to hurt himself. Just a small cut, to prove his loyalty. Asir was scared, but the curator was persuasive. He was told that all the other players were doing it. He was told that if he backed out now, his secrets and the photos he sent would be shared with his entire school. He was trapped. The final messages from the game were found on his phone after it was too late. They were cold, direct, and filled with threats against his family if he disobeyed. The game had convinced him that the only way to protect them, the only way to finish the game and prove his strength, was to follow the final command. Asir's parents were devastated. They had no idea. They would later say, "We thought he was just playing, we thought he was safe in his room." They never knew the war he was fighting alone, in silence, against a monster who had become his only confidant. Asir's story is a tragedy, but the scariest part is that it could happen in any home. The line his parents said, "I thought he was just playing," is a line I hear over and over again. It's the anthem of parental regret in the digital age. We as parents have a massive blind spot. We see our children sitting on the couch, quiet and occupied with their phones, and we feel a sense of relief. They're not out on the streets getting into trouble. They're home. They're safe. But are they? We are failing to see that the greatest danger may not be in the physical world, but in the digital one we so willingly hand them. The manipulation used in these games is incredibly sophisticated. It's a slow burn. The predator starts by building trust and making the child feel special. They might say things like, "You're different from the others, you're smarter," or "I'm the only one who really understands you." They create an us against the world mentality, positioning parents and friends as outsiders who wouldn't understand. The game demands secrecy from the very beginning, teaching the child to lie and hide their activities. This secrecy is the wall that goes up between you and your child, and you may not even notice it's being built. Then come the threats. These are not vague, childish threats. They're specific and terrifying. If you tell your parents, "I will post your private photos online. If you don't do what I say, I know where your little sister goes to school. I have your address. I can hurt your family." To a child who is already isolated and scared, these threats feel completely real. They believe the person on the other end of the screen has godlike power. They're paralyzed by fear, not just for themselves but for the people they love most. They are carrying a burden that no child should ever have to bear. The tragic reality is that while this intense psychological battle is raging, life at home can look completely normal. Your child might seem a little more withdrawn, a little more tired, or a little more irritable. But it's easy to dismiss these signs as typical teenage moodiness or stress from school. We're not trained to look for the signs of digital manipulation. We don't know the questions to ask. The blind spot isn't a failure of love, it is a failure of awareness. We have to learn to see what is happening behind the screen, because that is where the modern battlefield for our children's minds is located. I want to end with a direct message to every parent, every guardian, every person who has a child in their life. The story of Asir and countless others leaves us with a heartbreaking warning, a message written in their silence. It's a plea for connection. It's a cry for you to be more than just a provider or a rule maker. You have to be their anchor in the real world. A smartphone can provide entertainment, but it can never provide comfort. A digital friend can offer excitement, but it can never offer love. That is your job. That has to be your priority. Stop leaving your children alone with technology as their primary companion. Put down your own phone and look at them. Really look at them. Ask them about their day and don't accept fine as an answer. Ask them who they are talking to online. Ask to see the games they are playing. not as a police officer but as a parent who is interested and who cares. Create a home environment where they know, without a shadow of a doubt, that they can come to you with anything, no matter how strange, embarrassing, or scary it is, and you will listen without judgment and help them. Your attention is the most powerful defense your child has against these predators. Your time is the armor that will protect them. Loneliness is the disease, and your presence is the cure. These predators are counting on you to be too busy. They're counting on you to be too distracted. They thrive in the silence that grows when families stop talking to each other. Do not let that silence grow in your home. Fill it with conversation, with questions, with laughter, and with the unwavering assurance that your child is seen, heard, and loved. Do not wait for the warning signs to become obvious, because by then it may be too late. The challenge is not for them, it's for you. The game is not on their screen, it's in your home. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to build a relationship so strong that no digital monster can ever break it. Talk to your children. Listen to them. Be their friend, their real friend. Never, ever let them believe that a stranger on the internet cares about them more than you do. Your connection is their lifeline. Don't let go.